We have to open with a big bomba that will mark this summer transfer window, because Victor Gokesh to Arsenal, the here we go, is expected very soon. Could be a matter of hours, maximum days, but Arsenal are getting really close to signing Victor Gyokeres, and so it's a big story, it's a big move. It's a big one because Arsenal has been looking for a striker for a long time, but now we are almost there in this race to find the new number 9 for Mikel Arteta. And Victor Gyokeres looks to be the man. Why? What happened? In the last 48 hours, in secret, in silence, in Portugal, with direct talks, Arsenal have been advancing a lot in conversations with Sporting for Victor Gyokeres. So, first point, Victor Gyokeres was the one also pushing in this direction. Why? Because Gyokeres told in a very clear way to Sporting, despite the statements from the president in the recent weeks, always saying that he was not going to accept the pact made by former Sporting director Hugo Viana, who now joined Manchester City. So he was not accepting the fixed price of 65 million euros plus add-ons. He wanted more than that. And so, despite those statements, despite the war between Gyokeres camp and Sporting, and despite the whole situation, the player stance was very firm. And then what happened in the last 48 hours is that Gyokeres told in a very clear way to Sporting that he only wants to go to Arsenal, that he's not going to show up for training next week. Sporting are expected to return to training, but Gyokeres will not be part of this, because Gyokeres only wants to leave the club. Gyokeres wants to move on. Gyokeres wants a new chapter. Gyokeres wants Champions League football with Arsenal. And so Gyokeres told in a very strong and clear way to Sporting that he's not going to training. He's not going to play for the club anymore. He wants to go to Arsenal. There is an agreement between Victor Gyokeres agents and Arsenal, with the director, Andrea Berta. The contract is ready, is a long-term deal, the salary is agreed, the whole package is okay. Gyokeres accepted every condition offered by Arsenal after conversations, and so now, for Gyokeres and other clubs in Italy, Manchester United and all the others, it's over. For Arsenal, the deal is really close to being completed. At the moment, Sporting insisted to have a package, total package of 80 million euros. Arsenal are close to that, but still not there. But there will be more conversations to try to get the deal done, and so Arsenal advancing, contacts are constant this weekend. So they are speaking constantly between Sporting, Arsenal, the agents. Victor Gyokeres is in contact with his agents on every hour basis to be informed on the situation. He's buzzing to go to Arsenal, he's pushing to go to Arsenal, and now the deal is really close. So what a day for Arsenal. Zubimendi finally official from Real Sociedad for 65 million euros, and right after Arsenal attacking for Victor Gyokeres, working hard on this deal for Victor Gyokeres, and so they are almost there. The here we go could come very soon. If Arsenal and Sporting can agree on the final details in the next hours or days, everything can be done for Victor Gyokeres to be new Arsenal striker. So the story is entering into really crucial stages, and maybe while you're watching this video, some of you, not every one of you, maybe we can already have the here we go in place or almost there, because really they are advancing very fast for Victor Gyokeres. So we are entering into really important stages, but it's an exciting moment to be an Arsenal fan. Because there is Martin Zubimendi, because there is Kepa, because there is the negotiation for Mosquera, because there is Victor Gyokeres, and Arsenal are not giving up also on wingers. Remember what I told you for number 10 position about Gyokeres, because Arsenal keep working on conversations with the agents of Gyokeres, still no club-to-club contact with Crystal Palace, but Arsenal are also preparing an opening bid for Noni Madueke. Arsenal are ready to make a proposal to Chelsea for Noni Madueke. At the moment, my understanding is that the valuation between the two clubs is quite different. As I told you, still no club-to-club contact yet, but Arsenal are set to make a first bid, so any moment this proposal can arrive. My understanding is that those at Arsenal value the player at some money, and for Chelsea is quite different, so there is still something to understand between the two clubs, and let's see how these conversations will go. I can confirm what I told you with an exclusive update yesterday, that Arsenal have an agreement with Noni Madueke on the contract. It's a 5-year contract, I can add this detail, for Madueke. The salary is okay, the commission is okay, everything is okay. For people involved in the deal, for the player, for Arsenal. Now, the most important part is club to club, and so let's see how this conversation will go. Madueke is open to making this move to Arsenal. staying in London but moving to the Gunners. The conversation is well underway also in this case with the player waiting for the clubs. With this madueke story that could develop really in the next days. So Arsenal very busy on the market. Arsenal entering into important stages.
As well as we know, one of their main priorities this summer has been bringing in a striker, and it looks as though Gyokeres could be that man. Jules, what more can you tell us about this deal?
Yeah, that's right, Kay. This is moving forward very well. We talked about it a little bit the last time I was on the show, which was maybe on Sunday night, I think it was, or we Sunday today. I can't remember really, but a few days ago, and then we wrote it on the website as well. Talks between the player and Arsenal pretty much all done. Between the two clubs, which is always going to be quite difficult because we explained there was a release clause for Gyokeres at 100 million euros, but then he kind of agreed a gentleman agreement with the club saying that he could leave for less than that, around the 60 to 70 million euros fee, which they are about to agree. The structure is still a little bit up in the air, whether it's 60 plus 10, 65 plus 5 or 7, some bonuses that should be easily reachable. That's what Sporting wants. So we're not just there yet, but it should not be too long now before Victor Gokesh is officially an Arsenal player.
That could change things very much for Arsenal this year, Craig.
Well, Mikel Arteta hopes so. It's a kind of an admittance, and right or wrong, that the initial plan didn't really work for him and hasn't taken them to the level that they needed, which was signing Kai Havertz, ironically, to start with, to play in the midfield as a midfield three, which didn't really work, and with Gabriel Jesus up front, and then he was shuffled Havertz up top and did a decent enough job at times with his movement and his work rate and the odd goal, but not enough to get Arsenal near enough to City or over the line, and certainly not enough to get anywhere close to Liverpool last year. So I think the club realising that, and I think have done for quite some time, even though there was a sort of softball bid for Ollie Watkins in January last year that I don't think was ever going anywhere. But Benjamin Sesko's been on the list, Gyokeres has been on the list. I suppose Alexander Isak was a player that Arsenal had looked at amongst others. But Gyokeres seems to be the one that the deal was going to be slightly easier to do. Scored a barrel load of goals in Portugal. He's more of a sort of penalty box striker, big guy, big physical enough guy, natural goal scorer, hustle bustle kind of player, a little bit of everything. So, if he gets this deal done along with the Zubimendi deal, in the last 2 or 3 years, they really have backed this manager, haven't they? With transfer fees and transfer funds and recruitment. And I think this just piles the pressure on for Arsenal to go this season and deliver.
Is this the final piece of the puzzle, these players coming in?
Gyokeres, I saw a lot at Coventry, and he's a player, and you described him quite well in terms of that he's a bit of everything. He was at his best when I saw him play, when balls were rolled into him around the box and he'd twist and turn. He could score goals by himself. He didn't just always play backwards. He'd try and turn defenders, roll defenders, get shots away. He's a good box player as well. He'd find that bit of space in the box. So I think it's a good signing. Now, we do a lot of La Liga, and Craig has seen a lot of La Liga. You have as well. I've watched Zubimendi on many, many occasions, and I've only ever seen him really dominate a game once, and that was in the final of the European Championships when he came on as a substitute. I don't understand what all the fuss is about with Zubimendi. He's a nice footballer.
Tidy.
He's tidy. He's a nice footballer. It's Jorginho of 5 years ago. He'll get the ball, pass it square, keep it all flowing. But I don't think I've ever seen him play a forward pass that's caused a problem.
But going back to Gyokeres quickly, I know he had this spell at Coventry. His game has to have taken to whether it's the league in Portugal or not, and he's played in the Champions League and all that sort of stuff. So he's playing at a much better level. The Portuguese league is not the Premier League. We know that, so it is going to be more difficult. But his game has to have gone from a much